Ladies and gentlemen, every daughter carries within her heart a story of love, of loss, of struggle, of resilience. Some daughters grow up embraced with care, while others grow up carrying wounds left behind by silence, neglect, or misunderstanding. But here is the truth: pain does not have to define you. Pain can become the seed of power. Struggles can become the fuel of strength. The tears you once cried can water the garden of your growth. Life will not always hand you gentle lessons. Sometimes life hands you storms. But a daughter's strength is proven not in avoiding the storm, but in learning how to dance in the rain. When she rises from her wounds, she doesn't just heal herself. She heals the generations that come after her. And today, I want to remind every daughter listening, your journey of healing is your journey of transformation. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not weak. You are awakening. You are not just someone who survived. You are someone who is destined to turn pain into unstoppable power. 1. Acknowledge the wound without shame. Healing begins with honesty. Too many daughters grow up in silence, hiding their wounds, hiding their stories, because the world told them that showing pain is weakness. But here's the truth: pretending to be fine is what keeps the pain alive. You cannot heal what you refuse to face. Acknowledging your wound is not about pity, it's about power. It's about saying, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I carry scars. But those scars do not define me. They remind me that I survived. Think of it like this: when a tree is struck by lightning, it may carry a burn mark on its trunk forever. But does that mark make it less of a tree? No. That mark becomes part of its story, proof of its resilience. The same is true for you. Too often, society trains daughters to smile through pain, to stay quiet, to never admit how deeply they've been broken. But silence is heavy. Silence eats away at the soul. Acknowledgement, on the other hand, is liberating. The moment you give your pain a name, you strip it of its power over you. And here's something interesting: studies show that people who journal, speak, or even just admit their pain to themselves experience less anxiety and more inner peace. Why? Because secrets become chains, but truth sets you free. So, the first step in turning pain into power is courage. The courage to look yourself in the mirror and say, I am not ashamed of my scars. They are my proof of survival. I am not broken. I am becoming whole. I will no longer hide my story, because my story holds strength. And remember this: a wound acknowledged becomes a wound that can heal. A wound denied becomes a wound that never closes. The Japanese have an art form called kintsugi. When a piece of pottery breaks, they don't throw it away. Instead, they fill the cracks with liquid gold. The result: the object becomes even more beautiful, more valuable than before it was broken. Your wounds are your kintsugi. The cracks in your soul are where your strength and light will shine the brightest too. Releasing the burden of blame. Blame is a heavy stone that many daughters carry for years. Some blame themselves for not being enough, for their parents. Some blame their mothers or fathers for the pain they caused. And some carry both, self-blame and blame toward others, until it eats away at their joy. But here's the truth: blame is a prison. As long as you hold it, you cannot walk freely into your future. Think about it like this: imagine carrying a backpack filled with rocks. Every rock represents a grudge, an anger, a regret, a why did this happen to me? The longer you carry that backpack, the heavier it becomes. You start losing energy. You start slowing down. Life feels like a constant uphill climb. And what happens when you finally take the backpack off? Relief, lightness, freedom. That's what releasing blame feels like. But releasing blame doesn't mean excusing what happened. It doesn't mean pretending the pain was okay. It doesn't mean saying, it didn't hurt me. No. It means saying, I choose not to let this pain control me anymore. It means reclaiming your power from the hands of the past. Here's something interesting: neuroscience tells us that when we replay painful memories over and over, the brain cannot distinguish between the past and the present. The body feels the same stress, the same anger, as if the event is happening again. This is why holding on to blame keeps us stuck. We are literally reliving the pain every time. So how do you release it? You release it by shifting perspective. You may never get the apology you deserved. You may never hear the words, I'm sorry, from the person who hurt you. But healing is not about waiting for someone else to change. It's about deciding you no longer want to suffer. Forgiveness here is not for them. It is for you. It is saying, I deserve peace more than I deserve revenge. I deserve lightness more than I deserve to keep carrying this darkness. In many spiritual traditions, forgiveness is compared to unclenching your fist. When you keep your fist tight, you cannot receive anything new. No blessings, no love, no joy. But the moment you open your hand, you make space. Releasing blame is opening your hand to life again. It is saying, I am ready to receive something better than the pain I've been holding. And here's the powerful shift: when you let go of blame, you don't just release the past, you create room for a new future. 3. Transforming pain into wisdom. Pain has a strange way of becoming our greatest teacher, but only if we allow it. Many daughters who have walked through hardship ask themselves, why me? Why did I have to suffer like this? But what if that very pain was not meant to break you, but to awaken you? What if the wound you carry is also the doorway to your deepest wisdom? Here's the truth: every scar tells a story. The struggles you've faced, the tears you've shed, the nights you felt abandoned or unseen, all of it is raw material for your growth. Just like pressure turns coal into diamonds, life's pressure can turn your pain into wisdom if you choose to see it differently. Think about it. A daughter who grew up feeling ignored may later develop an extraordinary gift. She can see others. She can feel their struggles, because she knows what it's like to be invisible. A daughter who felt unloved may discover a fierce determination to create unconditional love for her own children, her community, or even herself. The pain does not define you. The way you transform it does. Psychologists often say suffering without meaning leads to despair, but suffering with meaning leads to transformation. If you can find the meaning in your pain, even if it's simply, this taught me empathy, or this showed me what I will never tolerate again, then your suffering becomes wisdom. It becomes the fire that guides your steps instead of the chains that hold you back. In Japanese culture, there's an art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, they are filled with gold, making the broken object more beautiful and valuable than before. Imagine if you did the same with your life. Your cracks, your wounds, your struggles. Instead of hiding them, you fill them with wisdom, strength, and compassion. You don't become less because of what you went through. You become more. So ask yourself, what has my pain taught me that no book, no teacher, no classroom ever could? That answer is your wisdom. And once you own it, no one can take it away. 4. Reclaiming your voice and identity. One of the greatest battles a daughter faces in her healing journey is reclaiming her own voice. The voice that was silenced by pain, overshadowed by expectations, or drowned by the noise of others. For so many, childhood or early experiences teach us to shrink, to stay quiet, to not cause trouble. Maybe you were told your opinions didn't matter, or you felt unseen in your own home. Slowly, without realizing it, you began to lose touch with who you really are. But here's the truth: your voice is your power, and your identity is your freedom. Healing requires you to stop living as the version of yourself shaped by others' pain, and start living as the woman you were born to be. Reclaiming your voice means speaking up even when it shakes. It means daring to say, this is who I am, and I will not apologize for it. It's choosing to honor your truth even if others don't understand it. Because your voice is not just sound. It's your essence, your spirit, your strength being expressed in the world. When you reclaim your identity, you stop living by the labels others put on you. Maybe they said you were too emotional, too ambitious, not enough, or just a girl. But guess what? You are not too much. You are exactly what this world needs. You are not just a girl. You are a force of nature carrying generations of strength within you. There's a powerful story about how elephants are trained in captivity. From a young age, they are tied with small ropes, and because they're too weak to break free, they learn to believe they cannot escape. Even when they grow strong enough to break chains, they never try, because their mind is conditioned to believe they are powerless. Many daughters live the same way. Life may have tied you down once, and you believed you had no power. But now you've grown. You are stronger, wiser, more resilient. The rope that once held you is nothing compared to the power you carry today. Reclaiming your voice means breaking that rope, refusing to be defined by old limitations. So ask yourself today, what parts of me have I hidden? What truth have I been afraid to speak? What identity do I want to reclaim? Because the moment you begin to speak your truth, you don't just heal yourself, you inspire every woman and daughter watching you to do the same. 5. Turning pain into self. Love. Every wound carries a message. Every scar carries a story, and every pain you have ever felt has the potential to become the seed of self-love. But here's the challenge: most people run away from pain, bury it deep, or try to forget it ever existed. What they don't realize is that pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Think about it, the deepest heartbreaks you've experienced, the moments of rejection, betrayal, or loneliness, they broke you, yes. But they also revealed what you truly needed. They showed you the places where you were yearning for love, the parts of yourself that were waiting to be embraced. Pain shines a spotlight on the very areas where healing is required. Turning pain into self-love means choosing not to let your suffering harden you, but instead letting it soften you toward yourself. It means looking at your broken pieces and saying, I may have been hurt, but I will not abandon myself. Every tear you've shed can water the soil of your self-worth if you allow it. Imagine a diamond. It is formed under extreme pressure, deep within the earth. Without that pressure, without that pain, it could never shine. In the same way, your pain has been the pressure shaping you into the strong, radiant woman you are becoming. The very things you once wished away are the forces molding your inner brilliance. There's an ancient Japanese art called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, they are filled with golden lacquer, making the object even more beautiful and valuable than before. The philosophy is simple: the break is not the end. It is a transformation. This is what self-love does with your pain. Instead of hiding your scars, you honor them. You fill your cracks with compassion, resilience, and wisdom. And suddenly, you are not damaged. You are art. You are living proof that pain does not destroy, it transforms. So the question becomes, will you let your pain define you, or will you let it refine you? When you choose the latter, every experience, no matter how painful, becomes an act of love toward yourself. And when a daughter learns to turn her pain into self-love, she becomes unshakable, because the love she once searched for outside, she now carries within. 6. Building inner strength and resilience in life is not about avoiding storms. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And resilience is that dance. Resilience is the inner power that allows you to fall 7 times and rise 8. It's the ability to keep moving when the weight of the world tries to crush you. But here's the truth. Resilience is not something you are born with. It's something you build. Just like muscles in the gym, inner strength grows when it is tested. Every struggle you face, every disappointment you encounter, every challenge that shakes you, all of these moments are your training ground. Pain is your resistance, and rising again is your repetition. Think about the strongest women in history. They were not strong because life was easy for them. They were strong because life tested them again and again, and they refused to stay down. Resilience is not the absence of pain. It is the refusal to let pain have the last word. Now here's something interesting. Scientists studied how trees grow inside a biosphere, a controlled environment where there was no wind, no storms, no struggle. At first, the trees grew quickly and looked healthy. But soon, they started collapsing under their own weight. Why? Because without the stress of the wind, the trees never developed. Stress would. The inner strength that allows them to withstand storms. Human beings are the same. Without challenges, without hardships, without the winds of life pushing against us, we would collapse under pressure. It is the struggles, the rejections, the moments where we feel like giving up. Those are the winds shaping us into unbreakable beings. Resilience is also about mindset. Some people see obstacles as roadblocks, while others see them as stepping stones. The difference lies in perspective. A resilient daughter does not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, she asks, "What is this teaching me? How is this shaping me?" Imagine a bow and arrow. The harder the bow pulls back, the further the arrow can fly. The same principle applies to your life. The greater the pressure, the further life is preparing to launch you. What feels like a setback is often a setup for a greater comeback. Building inner strength and resilience means trusting that every storm is carving out a stronger version of you. It means knowing that no matter how hard life pushes you down, you carry within you the fire to rise, to rebuild, and to rewrite your story. And when you master resilience, nothing outside of you can ever break what is inside of you. 7. Becoming a source of light for others. The ultimate healing is not just about transforming your own life. It's about becoming a guiding light for others who are still trapped in their darkness. True power is not measured by how much you keep for yourself, but by how much you can pour into others. When you rise, you don't rise alone. You rise to show others that it's possible. Think about it. Every person you meet is fighting a silent battle you know nothing about. Some are smiling on the outside while breaking inside. Some are carrying wounds so deep that even they can't put them into words. And sometimes, all it takes is one voice, one presence, one story of survival to remind them that healing is possible. That voice, that presence, that story could be yours. When a daughter turns her pain into power, she doesn't just free herself, she opens a doorway for countless others. She becomes an example, a living testimony that scars do not define you, they refine you. Her journey becomes a message. If I can rise, so can you. And here's the fascinating part: psychologists have found that helping others actually heals the helper. It's called the helper's high. When you use your experiences to encourage, uplift, or guide others, your brain releases the same chemicals of joy and fulfillment that come from love and success. In other words, by being a light for someone else, your own light shines brighter. Imagine walking into a dark room with just one candle. Suddenly, the entire space changes. The darkness doesn't disappear completely, but it loses its power because of one single flame. That's what you are when you choose to be a source of light. You don't have to fix everyone's life. You don't have to eliminate all pain. All you need to do is shine. And when your light spreads, it ignites other candles until a whole room, a whole community, a whole generation begins to glow. Becoming a source of light means shifting from asking, "Why did this happen to me?" to saying, "Because this happened to me, I will help others rise." It means choosing to take your wounds and turn them into wisdom. It means choosing to live as proof that no matter how dark the night, the dawn always comes. So, the daughter who once cried in silence becomes the woman who speaks with strength. The girl who once felt broken becomes the guide who shows others how to heal. And in doing so, she realizes that her journey was never just about her. It was about becoming a torchbearer for those still finding their way through the shadows. So, my dear friends, the healing journey of a daughter is never just about mending wounds. It is about discovering who she truly is beneath the scars. It is about finding her voice, reclaiming her power, breaking the cycles that once held her captive, and transforming her pain into a fire that lights her path forward. Every tear that once fell in silence now becomes a seed of strength. Every wound that once felt like a curse now becomes a badge of wisdom. And every moment of brokenness becomes the foundation for a new kind of beauty. A beauty that is not seen in the face, but felt in the soul. The daughter who chooses to rise is not only healing herself, she is healing generations. She becomes a voice for the voiceless, a flame for the lost, and a reminder to the world that nothing, no pain, no betrayal, no past, can stop a woman who has decided to rise. And so, to every daughter listening, remember this. Your pain is not your prison, it is your preparation. Your scars are not your shame, they are your story. And your story has the power to heal not only you, but countless others. Rise, not as who the world told you to be, but as who you were always meant to be. Because within you lies a fire that no darkness can extinguish. And when you let that fire burn, you will not only light your own path,